right, so you're on the podcast this week.
I sure am.
I couldn't wait to talk to you.
Oh, great.
Tell me about this dream you had of tattooing palms. Was that the entire dream, or was it just part of it?
Just a snippet. I've been smoking enough weed again lately that I don't get, like, entire dreams.
Yeah.
But
I'm wiping the hard drive pretty good.
I'm just in and out of dreams now.
But I definitely, it was just a snapshot of, if anything, just a snapshot of like dotting in palms, and of course not being able to get it smooth enough.
Where were you dotting palms? Like, what part of the world were you in?
Probably
much more
probably
about
right
this.
here. I spent enough time in this room that any tattoo dreams are probably right here.
That's
Yeah.
reasonable.
Yeah.
I always wonder, like, is it this place exactly, or is there like other things here? Like stuff you've had throughout your life are in the room with you.
No, I wish my dreams were that clear these days. Not to mention, you would have had to ask me like day of, because our dreams fade so quickly.
Oh, I know.
Even if you intentionally try to remember it, it's just going to flutter off.
It sucks because sometimes a dream is really good and you want to hold on to
I
it.
have a lot of really epic dreams.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
Even my scary ones are like, I want to remember that. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Do you have those dreams where you like try and go back to sleep to get back into the dream?
Yep.
Oh, I do it sometimes.
I've done it.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it when that
I've been
happens.
able to do it lots, like where you'll I want to see how that was going to end. I'm
Yeah.
going back to sleep.
Yeah, I didn't finish this movie.
And then you're almost like finished writing it kind of thing. But blackout palms, is that happening?
So that was going to be Friday,
Yeah.
but he's had like 4 sessions in the past month with me. So he's going to go ahead and wait until later October. So I'll squeeze him in later October.
That's fair.
What does he do for a living? Just curious.
Stuff
Yeah.
and things.
Stuff and things.
He's a distributor of
Goods and services.
semi-legal goods,
Okay, so that's not important then.
and an
long as
apprentice,
he
and,
does-
and an apprentice tattoo artist.
Does
Yes.
he work with his hands a lot then?
Yeah.
So he's well aware of the
As
trouble.
an apprentice tattoo artist, he is, yes, but he's apprenticing at a joke of a tattoo shop. Like, a joke isn't, it's actually funny just to talk about it.
Oh my god, yeah. It really is.
No,
So, like,
I can appreciate
I don't see it being a problem for that. and his semi-legal goods distribution system.
Well, he must be making money.
Oh yeah, he
Yeah,
makes surprisingly good money.
Yeah,
doing that.
exactly.
efficient.
If
Yeah.
he's had 4 sessions with you this week, anyone who can have 4 or 5 tattoos a week, or
Yeah.
month,
Well,
then they're doing okay.
I'll put it this way: it's a joke to buy weed legally for $50 to $60 an ounce, and an even funnier joke to sell it illegally for $140 an ounce.
Yeah, like who's doing that?
I don't
Who's
know.
buying that? There's stores
yeah.
everywhere.
Well, that
There's
was
literal stores everywhere.
That
People who
was
think they're
the
sticking to
number
the
one
man
thing.
by paying him more.
That was the number one thing I was happy with about weed legalization was no more shifty go-betweens.
Yeah.
No more guy
Yeah.
coming over stinking like shit, sitting in your living room, petting your dog, and staying for an obnoxious amount of time for some reason.
Yeah.
No more, is he going to show up? Is he going to, is he going to answer my text? None of that stuff. Like, that was the worst part of it. Like, just dealing with those people was the worst.
I think it's Tom Segura that has a bit on that.
Oh.
where he's going like, my kids are never gonna believe this. You had to do what to get weed? You had to go to some weird guy's house and hang out with him for 20 minutes?
Yeah, you have to make pleasantries.
And then he had to drive across town to get it, and you had to go with him? What the heck?
Which also just goes to show you that like whole the industry that we've created of this customer's always right thing is like, no, when you got the product,
You
it's,
can behave
it's the
like whatever-
supplier's always right. We go
whatever
through a
kind of
wild amount of
douchebag
shit just
you
to get
want.
the thing that we
The
want.
black market is very different for
Yeah.
buying and selling things.
So what you're saying is I have to be cordial to him for an indeterminate amount of time? Oh, weird.
Well, my ex would always have. Well, her drug dealer was. He was as shifty as they come, and he was never on time. He was. Sometimes you wouldn't hear from him for days. Sometimes it costs more. Sometimes it costs less. Sometimes it was basically just dirt and weeds. Like, it was like the quality was just never assured.
You saying there's no good quality control back then?
Well, there was definitely no quality control, but
Yeah.
like just everything about dealing with this guy made me hate it more.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing more to the point where, and it gives it a shady association too, right? Because if it's this guy that's bringing you the product, then it's like, I don't care what it does for me. I don't want it.
Yeah.
because this is your representation of it, right?
Now we got Apple stores with bud tenders in them that like will tell you the exact type of thing, and oh my god, it's
If you
amazing.
prefer a more caramel flavor, try this one.
Yeah, we have sommeliers for weed now.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it really ruined my opinion of that for a bit of my life, dealing with that guy.
Yeah,
Because it
that's
was
fair.
always him too. Because it was hard to find another guy. Like if you didn't have connections,
Yeah.
you found one and you were happy.
Well, once
Yeah.
upon a time, it wasn't like ask anybody where they get their weed. No, it was like 1 in 20 people are actually regular users. So you got to find that one guy who actually has a hookup and doesn't just like get it from his friend, you know? It's not like 1 in 20 guys has a dealer. It's like 1 in 20 guys or 1 in 20 people know someone that like knows a guy that gets them weed, and then they just
Every once in a while, and
Share
when
with a
someone
friend.
knows, and it's just a hassle.
They all get a quarter gram each because that quarter gram cost them $50.
I loved the language around it. Oh, my buddy's coming over. Like
Yeah.
I'm going to go see my friend in BC. It's like, oh yeah, we all know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, but you couldn't come right out and say it.
I will say now that I keep forgetting that the rest of the world is not caught up.
I know. I
It's-
just assume it's like this everywhere.
It feels so
oh my
obvious.
word, it really does.
It feels like, oh.
This is just like the most obvious thing we should have done a long time ago, and it's wild that nobody else is caught up.
I'm just imagining those guys still exist out there.
Oh,
and
there
they're
are.
still doing that.
They're
stuff.
everywhere. They're in the majority of the world.
I
We
didn't
are
know
the
they
minority.
were still here.
They're still here.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, it's wild.
There's people putting marijuana into the barbecue and people taking the marijuana and putting the cash in the barbecue. Like,
Really?
this is still happening in our city today.
You don't have to do that
All
anymore.
over the place. You don't have to.
You can like, there's one on that corner. There's one on that corner.
Do you think it's like they just like the lifestyle of it?
Well, I
Like,
think it's that they've got this buddy.
Yeah, they need to keep their buddy working.
Yeah, really.
Working.
And they think
Yeah.
for some reason it's like better. I'm guessing would probably be my guy's got the good stuff.
Yeah,
even though you
yeah,
have
yeah.
no idea what you're getting ever.
This is way better stuff than what you get from the government.
Yeah,
Way better
and,
stuff than what you get from the internet.
and like not to
Yeah.
mention like 140 an ounce, you can buy the
Maybe-
best.
Maybe I'm thinking,
weed
maybe I'm thinking
at
of a different
store.
product at 140. I think the weed might be 100 or something like that.
Sure,
Like,
either way, if it's more than like $70.
But the trick is the people going and buying $100 an ounce. Good weed is $100 an ounce still.
Sure.
Right? Or great weed is. I'm actually buying good weed now for $55 an ounce
See?
off the internet.
That's the wild thing. We have it so
crazy.
good.
Yeah, we have it so good. But $100 an ounce, a lot of people still think they're getting a crazy good deal.
Yeah.
Because 4 years ago,
It was 200.
200 an ounce was like not a great deal, but like you'd regularly pay 200 for an ounce.
Yeah.
If you found a guy selling whole ounces.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Right?
It was rare
Yeah.
because like that's. I mean, all of a sudden that's sketchy.
I love this too. If you could find the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, this is why I'm happy we don't need to deal with
I
the
know.
guy anymore.
Yeah.
I love that we have Apple stores everywhere.
Yeah, it's so
wild.
stupid. The whole thing is ridiculous. Just imagining any other part of your life having to deal with the guy.
Oh my word.
Though that being said, and I'm not trying to trash tattoo artists in any means, I kind of feel like that with tattoo artists sometimes.
Yeah, it's similar.
Some of them are
It-
kind of like the guy.
Yeah.
It is. You're-
Especially a while back.
Oh yeah, that when I first started getting pierced and stuff, it was like that everywhere you went.
Yeah.
It's like, will he be there? Like sometimes you'd go in, there'd be an open sign up, but you'd go in and there'd be no one in there.
Yeah. Yeah, they just left.
The shop is open.
Where are the guys?
So they'll be back.
Or you'd be greeted by a really gruff guy who had no interest in talking to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like it would just be one of those you don't belong here kind of atmospheres.
Yeah.
He's just blankly staring into your soul.
Yeah.
Like
the
it was
get
a
out
different
kind
time.
of look.
Like it felt like that, and it still feels like that in some ways, some places.
Yeah, for sure.
But like that's starting to go away, and I'm happy about that.
The amount of people that walk through this store and go, "Ooh, this place is nice," where it's just
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I was expecting a shithole. This is crazy."
There was a page that I follow, Only the Darkest. They started a little page. It's called Only the Truth. And it didn't go well for them. But what happened was they were trying to expose some of the shadiness of some tattoo shops.
Yeah.
Right? Not just one thing, not like just sexual harassment or anything like that, but like all aspects of like weird gatekeeping and different things like that. And they got some really crazy stories.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Right, but but I think people didn't like what they were doing because they didn't want the secrets of the industry being exposed.
Yeah.
Secrets of the industry.
The dark side of things that people liked seeing pretty tattoos, but they don't like the stories behind how they got them all the time.
Well, that kind of like spoils their fun, right?
What kind of bad stories are there?
There's all
there's
kinds of
tons.
stuff. There's all kinds of tattooers that have been canceled for all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, fair.
Right? Like in Calgary, it was really bad for a while. There was a page that was exposing them left and right back like a year ago, I want to say. Maybe a little, I don't remember.
Oh,
who
you
started
mean
it,
the
but
sexual assault ones?
Well, there was those.
I've
there
heard a
was
couple
those,
of
but there's
some
other
other
ones.
just like dealings
Bad practice
of things.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of that stuff that was coming out for a while. And I think it became trendy almost to do that. And like, oh,
Well,
it's
is it
clout.
trendy or profitable? Right?
I don't think it's profitable.
The internet's made it if you want to
You
get
can
hits and clicks, buddy.
commoditize it, but it's not profitable on its own.
Yeah.
So like if you can,
it's not that so say if it was like it's not a tattoo artist is blowing up someone's spot. It's like they create a whole page, and that page is the one that blows up spots. So it's like you're not profiting directly.
But suppose you wanted to build a page, get it to 10,000, and then sell it, or build a page, get it to
I
10,000,
guess,
and
but-
move that account over to a different purpose because that's valuable. There's money.
Yeah,
there's money in
I
that.
just do kittens or something.
I
though.
followed a Blackwork page. They were Blackwork Extreme
Yeah.
at one point, and they were doing real like heavy Blackwork posts, and they weren't going as well as they wanted, so they turned into one black tattoos, and now I think they're like 300,000. They were at like 75K, and they don't post anything too edgy anymore. It's all just trending black tattoos, black ink tattoos. And I'm thinking they're only doing this to sell this page one
of
day,
course.
right?
Yep.
So he's learning the game. He's doing it.
300,000 is a huge page to sell.
Well, now he's got a whole bunch of other pages too.
Yeah.
And they're all just other gimmicks, right?
yeah.
And so you get him to 500K, you sell him to a guy who's like, I want to start a tattoo page, but I don't want to put the work in. I'll pay $5,000 for that.
Yeah.
Right? It's a huge following. I got quality work. Mm-hmm. It's been raised on tattoos. Bingo. Right?
Crazy.
It does make sense to me. Imagine this. Imagine you don't want to do social media. You've said it a million times. Imagine you go, for $2,000, is it worth me never worrying about this again? Never doing giveaways? And I
But,
already
like-
got a platform.
But
you're-
that's not clients.
But it's not
Well, I know
clients.
it's not. But what I'm saying is sometimes people don't think about that.
Oh,
Right.
Like
yeah,
people
yeah.
don't.
They don't
just,
put that. They don't do the next step.
Right. They just want that quick fix.
It reminds me of that South Park episode with the underpants gnomes, where it was like first step steal underpants, second step, third step
Yeah,
profit.
yeah.
Like that's a lot of people's like mentality
Yeah,
when it comes
exactly.
to
They
ideas.
just I'll have this.
if I
and
get
it
this,
will work.
then success.
Well, and it looks
Okay.
like social proof to people, right?
Yeah.
Well, and that's an interesting one because that's where buying those fake followers is kind of profitable. Where like suppose you're in Toronto, you're kind of going somewhere, you got some skills, your Instagram hasn't grown fuck all, but you're like, you know what? I'll move to Calgary. You can show up in Calgary with your 80,000 followers you bought. And now all of a sudden you're walking in, you're like,
You're an attraction.
big crap in town, and everyone's like, oh, there's a new guy in town with 80,000 followers. We're all gonna follow him. And like, as much as that's cheating, that's not an ethical way to do it. That's profitable.
Well,
if you're
it's-
trying to do business, that's an effective way to do
People
business.
have an inherent bias towards numbers that are
Exactly.
bigger. So like, if I had 150,000 followers, it's more likely that I'm going to get a follow from you than it is if I have 15.
Yeah, big time.
And it doesn't even matter if you like me or not. It's
Nope.
just like a magnet at
You're
some
like, oh,
point.
may as well.
Well, everybody else is following this.
Exactly. It's
And
that,
it's
that's
not
that
even
sheep
conscious.
mentality.
There's people who go against that consciously.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not following the big accounts.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people are just like, this guy must know what he's talking about. Look how many people like him.
Okay, so what happens if they take that number away? What happens if it doesn't matter? Like
I would
if-
like that a lot. Yes, thank you.
But like, what
Well-
would that change psychologically?
Here's one thing I was going to bring up was we had
It's not profitable for Instagram to take it away. There you go.
we had a day without Instagram, Facebook, all that crap.
Yeah.
Monday, and I was thrilled, and not because I didn't have to engage with it, but because I was like, ooh, this could be it. What if it doesn't come back? Oh. And I was like, oh man, if it doesn't come back, I am so well situated for that. And that sounds crazy. I don't want to lose my account and be the only one who does.
But everyone does.
If Instagram was done, it would force people into different spaces to get their scrolling fix. And I'm already in those spaces. So, and I'm already established on Instagram. People know who Remy is, whether you hate or like that. It would be good for me for everything to reset because I would have a foot ahead to begin with. And once you get that foot ahead, so this is where I'm saying when you put those numbers away, if you take the numbers away, it will hurt some people, but it will help other people. Because I don't even care what my following is anymore. Like, it's going up and up casually, but I'm not like, oh, I can't wait to be 200K. It's just about familiarity for me now. A lot of people are invested in what I'm doing and wanting to see the next step. And so that means those people will go and look for that journey on any other platform if it's not available on Instagram. Like, they're going to go, I want to see what he's doing to that thing next. I want to see his ear, the next thing he does. Like, that kind of stuff becomes more more relevant when you don't have that number, I think. The things that you've done with the platform will last, even if the number's gone. That's what I think. Because where else are you going to see that?
I mean, so I would just question, like, who goes looking for? Because, like, a lot of the trick of social media is that it's placed in front of you. It's all convenience, easy to pick up stuff, right? So if all of a sudden that's gone, that number, like, so say if it's an engagement of X, that number is going to fall a lot in terms of who's going to investigate. Because it's like, it takes a number, like, it takes a certain, like, I'm just thinking barriers to entry, right? Like, if all of a sudden it's like, I have
lazy.
to, yeah, exactly.
They're not going to go hunting.
Yeah.
But that's, if I'm on that other platform already, and they're then engaging with that platform, they're going to see my content.
Oh, just by happenstance.
It's going to happen.
Yeah,
it's the same thing will happen again, except I'll have a foot up with the people who do care enough to go and look.
Yeah.
Say I only get the 4,300 whatever YouTube subscribers. Those guys that are watching this shit, they're going to be there day one. Those are your real invested people.
So what platform should Kevin and I be in right now?
Great question.
Definitely TikTok.
Really?
However you can.
Not China.
Well, I mean, he's got a point, though.
If you don't want to be there, then there's other alternatives.
I also don't think TikTok's the right place to go find catalogs of tattoos.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
exactly.
But we don't have the other thing right now.
But I'm not going to invest.
This is why I was.
I'm not going to invest in China.
But this is why I was hoping Instagram did collapse, because I do want another platform to be able to recommend to you.
Yeah.
Because TikTok's not a home office.
No.
It doesn't have the interface to be.
And it's the CCP, man.
But like,
yeah, but I mean, everything
let's
is.
Take all of that out of the equation and just go on the app itself. It doesn't have the interface that you want for, like.
You need a gallery view.
Exactly. Everything is lost.
I didn't know it didn't have one.
It has a feed on. It has a home page, but that's it. So like, there's almost no backroom to it.
So it's the Snapchat version of Instagram.
Even less complicated. Mm-hmm. It's it's two screens. You have your search, and when you're on your search, there's like videos playing.
Recommendations.
There's already videos playing, and then you have your home page. Those are your two pages. That's it.
Huh.
You have account settings and stuff, but like, it's very streamlined. It's not a good place to home for social media.
Yeah.
For me, Instagram is a great like home desk. Kind of like, this is where all of my major dealings and wheelings will go on. Everything else.
And my target demographic is not the same target demographic as TikTok.
No.
So this is where I'm saying,
not even close, in fact.
No, they're nowhere near.
I don't want Instagram to exist anymore. Mm-hmm. I want something else to take its place. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's fine for it to become a Facebook-like entity where old people use it, but I don't like it for like where it's at right now, where it's mostly just ads.
Well, and it's getting too silly and distracting. I get on there and I'm like, I'm trying to work right now, and you're distracting me with a bunch of random crap.
Well, it's because of the ads, right?
Well, and the
They want those ads.
and all the buttons to get around in it are opposite corners every time. So if I like find myself into a story, I'm like, oh, I got to go back and check the name of this person so I can tag them. I have to press 9 things in different corners to get out, and I've got these clumsy ass thumbs that to try to get that little back button, but not hit this thing that takes me to the wrong place is just a pain in my fucking
Let me give
dick.
you a little something.
Yeah.
If you do end up blacking out his palms and you do a video of it, you put that on TikTok, whatever platform you're on will benefit from that.
Fair.
So,
Fair.
like, if you have a Scotty tattooer on TikTok, even if you don't plan on using it regularly,
I should do
that's
that.
going to go viral.
And isn't there a tattoo only one as well?
Tattoodo.
Tattoodo.
So is that worth any of my time?
I've never
It seems
looked
to
into it.
only profit big tattooers already. Like
I mean, I'm
already
6'2".
famous.
I'm pretty big.
Yeah, already
You're 6'2"?
famous tattooers.
You're tall. You're tall.
Are you really 6'2"?
I know, that seems...
I didn't think
I'm
you
just-
had that
seems
much
like a
height
high
on
number.
I'm
you.
just a lanky fucker.
I'm 5'11", so anyway,
Let's talk about our heights some more.
I
Okay.
probably
How about our
gained-
ages and birthdays and zodiac signs?
I bet
I
you
love
I've
walks
gained
on the
30,
beach.
40, maybe 50,000 followers on
I was going to
Instagram.
say pounds, and it's like, you have not.
No, on Instagram from TikTok.
It's like in physical dimensions here.
Yeah.
So
Most of my weight is in dark energy.
Antimatter.
Yeah.
I can't guess how many people I've gotten on YouTube from TikTok though.
Oh, tons, I'm sure.
It's been hundreds at least.
Yeah.
So I think probably more than Instagram has given it.
Okay, so...
Video to video, right? Like they've seen me on video on TikTok already, so then they're like, "Oh, I could listen to this for longer." I guess they must be deranged to think that. But
So here's a question.
See, you can go by location.
Yeah, of course.
Cool.
Just mostly, it's not that Tattoodo doesn't work, but it mostly works for artists.
yeah, I don't know anyone who's on Tattoodo.
Yeah, like
So-
if I were
right.
if I were a client, I wouldn't know about this.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
obviously we do. We've heard it because it's in our industry, but like that's not a search that clients would do. They would sooner Google.
How do I search for California? Oh, dear.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not going to get you much because that doesn't exist. But like there is no yeah, see? There you go. Two artists in Calgary.
Wow.
Wicked.
Find artists in my area. Sink or Swim and Jessica.
Yeah. Nailed it. All of Calgary, too.
Hey.
All of Calgary, there's Sink or Swim and
they're
Jessica.
Calgary. View up.
Wow,
So-
they're doing some great work in Calgary.
There's a million people.
Questions. There's a million
Two
people.
tattooers.
There's literally like what 60 tattoo shops.
Oh, yeah, if not more.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's
It's
gonna be way
wild.
more than that. There's like one every few fucking.
Jessica and
So
Sink or
Tattoodo,
Swim.
that's the future there, bro.
Okay, well, that
But
answers
again,
that
like
question.
it's
I guess I'm making a TikTok for occasional fad shit.
I mean, or whatever the next thing is. You know, like the reason that TikTok worked in the onset is the same reason that all the other ones are difficult to use right now, which is that there was no limitation and there was no sponsorship at the beginning. So all of a sudden it was just trying to get people.
It's the
Yeah.
Wild
Just
West.
get people.
I got on there pretty early, and my first ever video I put up had 10.3 million views. Like,
Holy crap!
and then the next one was like 5 million, and it just kept going that way. And I was at more than my Instagram following in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
On TikTok, and now I'm almost 1 million on TikTok.
See, that's where, like, I don't know. For me, I'm kind of the... I'm trying to look a little ahead. And I think that, like, having your own foundational, like, web page, that way you can engage with every platform, and then it can redirect you back to where you want people to be, would be the thing. Like, so they can buy your shit, whatever that might be. So... because like these platforms are going to ebb and flow and change, and people are going to be kind of interacting with them and not interacting with them. But it's like if you could at least have a showpiece where it's like, hey, this is my stuff in the way that I want to present it, not in the way that somebody tells me or like that kind of thing. It's like, hey, here's videos, here's photos, here's designs, whatever. Like this is all my curated snapshot of it, and then engage with all the other platforms to try and direct it back to. kind of the same thing of like, you know, your following grows off of your interaction with these other things. Then it's like, okay, does my interaction then grow to the place that I want them to be directed to?
Yeah.
I just also have this like I don't necessarily want Instagram down because for portfolio wise it's super handy for us.
It's a great app.
Yeah.
I just don't like how it's being run.
I just want Facebook gone. Like I don't understand. I really don't understand the fact that we still have Facebook.
I've got to find a way to bury my personal Facebook because I don't need it. I just only need it for Messenger. And then create a new one that's somehow linked to my Instagram and my personal one isn't at all. And I got to find out how to do that properly.
But you can definitely link them. I have a link.
Well, they already are inconveniently linked somehow.
Yeah. I don't engage with EphemeralRemy on Facebook, but the page exists.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's funny, every now and then I'll just be like, oh yeah, this is a thing, and I'll go in there and there's dozens of messages.
Yeah.
And I'll never check them because I don't want a Facebook presence.
No.
I just want to have, the only reason why that page exists is because when I get tagged, I want there to be someone there to funnel it to.
Mm-hmm.
So then it'll catch me to Instagram, right? Because then people will go, oh, well, I don't use Facebook, but I'll find him on Instagram, like that kind of thing. You should have a page on every platform.
That's what I've got to do exactly.
And whether you use it or not isn't even the point. It's just about being there.
Yep.
Technically, I don't even think I put my profile image for that Facebook page is like 2 years old. So shows you.
Oh yeah, mine's way older than that.
Yeah,
way older than that.
But things that people will remember. So like, if Instagram fell apart, there's like at least, I would say 10, 15 people that I will look for on the next platform based on things I've seen them do. So like, I follow 357 people. I'm probably not going to follow all of them again on the next platform. Like some of them just junk up over the years. Like where you're just like, oh, I'll follow you for this reason. And then you look back and you're like, who the fuck is this person?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know who you are, let alone why I'm following you. I've actually had to check people's, like the messages I've had with people to like try and jog my memory.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, who the fuck is this? Why do I know you? Oh yeah, you're this guy with this fucking thing.
If I got to do that, I just press mute.
Boop. Yeah.
But there are some people that I would look for on any other platform that I'm on, like just because I want to see what else they do. But those people are few and far apart. So, but things that make you one of those people are blackout palms. Right?
That's right. Exactly.
So we'll take it back a step. You need to make sure that gets videoed.
So what's the best technique, do you think? Because I'm not satisfied with either of those
I definitely
ones
don't
from
think it's a 25 mag.
No.
Well, certainly not that.
I don't know what he was thinking. Like,
That's
I'm
crazy.
not trying to be a dick, but even for my fingers, the first time we did it with like a 23.
Yeah.
And it didn't work very
Just
well.
with the tops.
Yeah.
And that's way more permeable than the
Lee
soles
and
of your
Rick
hand.
both used smaller mags for the next passes, and they worked better.
Yeah.
Took longer,
Of
but
course.
the big mags just create so much trauma on these areas that my fingers were so swollen before we even reached the end of them. Like before we even get to the tip of the finger, of the finger is swollen. You know what I mean? Because it's reacting to
the inflammatory response is just overwhelming the whole area at that point.
So you have to almost learn on the fly if you don't know what you're doing. 'Cause Lee was like, I don't know how I'm going to saturate this. And then so the next time we did it, it was with smaller mags, and it held way better too.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that a 9 meg is probably the best choice here.
It's going to suck, but it's going to suck anyway.
The 7 meg is very narrow, even though it's the same gauge, same whatever, they seem tighter spaced. Whereas the 9 meg seems to have a wider spacing than any of the other groupings. Like that I think the 9 meg and 7 meg of the same line are still meant to kind of have this effect, where we've got tight and wide. It's just 2 extra needles, but the width and the spread is much different between the two groupings.
Is that something you want, or do you want it to be tighter?
I think you want that spread.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to have less resistance. So like the tight spread means you're doing this a lot more, right? When that wide spread means you're doing this, which you're going to slide right into that.
Would it be worth trying a different brand? Because I know Quadrin, like their whole spread is wider.
Well, I think
Like
the 9
up
Cheyenne
and
is
down,
pretty
too.
good. Like it's got quite a wide spread.
Yeah, but they're tight down like this. You know what I mean? Whereas where the quadrant almost like tilts up.
Well, there are guys that stick a blade in there and twist those up.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, that makes sense. Or press them down further.
Or maybe it wasn't a blade. Maybe you would take a different grouping, like you take like a 3-liner, and then you slide that through and give that a wiggle back to get those fanned out a bit more.
If it's open, but if it's closed too much, you're going to be hitting the top of that.
Oh, yeah. You don't want to open too much. But they have an open...
Yeah, the shovel or whatever.
Yeah, the Cheyenne Megs have that open shovel thing anyway.
Yeah.
So you'd have quite a bit of play. As long as you're not, like way out here and then accidentally going too far back into the cartridge.
Yeah.
Stuck, and you just got this big mishmash.
Big old mess.
You wreck your tattoo machine and your cartridge and. Just
So
fuck it all
This was
up.
an expensive day.
Yeah, woo. What an experiment.
How did this idea come to be? Walk me through this.
I'll walk you through this so well. Probably 8 or 9 months ago now, Jordan says, "Yo, man, you gotta do my palms." I'm like, heck yeah, I'll do your palms, dude. A couple days later, he says, "Man, sorry, dude. I told Jessica a long time ago that I'd let her do them. So like, I'm gonna go let her do them because she's really stoked about it. And I told her I was gonna do it with you, and she's pretty bummed. So I'm gonna go to her. I'm like, okay, bummer. That sucks for me. Like, do your thing." And 2 weeks later, or then whenever he gets it done, I get a picture of his hands with these big, beautiful, like 11-liner style palm tattoos. And they're the same palm tattoos everybody has. She just printed them off the internet and put them on his palms. Because why the fuck wouldn't you just do that? Anyway, plagiarism it is. So he's got these palm tattoos. And a couple weeks after that, he's got an appointment with me. And he walks in. And he's got little black marks.
Yeah.
Kind of sporadically, not even all over his palms. Just
a little mark
here and there. Like maybe let's say 15 to 25 black marks per hand. Like there is no design left. There's no line left whatsoever. Wherever she started a line or overlapped a line, there's a little gray like smudge. And that's it.
I gotta interrupt for a second. Remember when I was telling you about that dementia music that I was listening to, where it's 6 hours and it's gradually getting worse and worse? So this is like stage 4 Alzheimer's palm tattoos, right? There's just like blips of noise here or there. There's almost no consciousness left. It's just static and noise now.
We should have done a time lapse of his palms healing.
Oh, man.
Like, hey, Jordan, you come in once a day, and we take a real good picture right in the same place, and then we have this like tuk, 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 tuk.
It wouldn't take long either.
No, it was only 2 weeks.
You wouldn't want to put like whimsical music behind that. You'd want like a proper horror theme. Just something really dark.
Bong.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's wild, man. So I have a lot of questions, and I probably won't ask on this thing about that whole situation.
Okay, you were like how that whole shop works.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions I have.
Well, person does a tattoo like that, and then they see how it heals, and they're like, "Oh, that means palm tattoos don't work."
Yes.
Right. I'm going to tell everyone from now on, don't bother with palm tattoos because you can't do a palm tattoo.
That's the same. I hear people say like, "Oh, you don't want to do color because color doesn't hold."
Yeah, I
are we
still hear
talking
that
about
one
here?
too.
In my body?
Yeah,
like these are stick and poke colors.
Well done colors stays just fine.
Yeah.
But if it's not done too well,
Then it becomes
it's gonna go away. Yeah.
blips and blobs.
Yeah, exactly.
My first ever tattoo was color. It turns 10 soon.
Aw.
And it hasn't lost an inch.
No, it hasn't.
There's even yellow in it, and the yellow looks brighter than it did then.
Yeah, it does.
We're fine here. That brick red, beautiful. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a shitty design, but like the guy drew it himself. And
Doesn't
he draws
look awful.
trad,
No, it looks
and he draws
traddy.
Trad just
Yeah.
fucking right.
Yeah, it's trad.
Oh, yeah, I'd rather it be neo trad, but I didn't know that back then.
Yeah.
I didn't know what that was back then. So
10
I
years
asked for
ago,
trad.
Neotrad was like just being
It
discovered.
was super neo.
Yeah. So
We can use more color.
more on how the palm tattoos came to be.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So they're just spots now.
That's pretty much it. And I was kind of hoping that he'd be like, all right, let's do some cool designs. No, palm blackout. That's legitimately the wrong choice. But I'm super stoked to do it.
So is it because
As you
you've
should be.
seen the one on Instagram?
Yeah, like if that guy who's the master at palm tattoos or the master at blackouts,
Well, one of them anyway.
yeah, is producing work that looks like that healed. Honestly,
It should be intimidating.
With my experience in black so far and white on black, now this is going to sound cocky, but it's not.
You can do better.
I feel like I can do better.
See,
Well, I
you
mean,
might be able to.
I might be able to. I'm not saying I
Problem is-
can,
The problem
but like
is,
I'm going to
to
put the time in.
Let's be forgiving to this guy. Who the hell gets proficient at blackout palms?
that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Because he did a bold thing of showing
Yeah.
and explaining what happened.
And I intend to do the same thing. No matter how crabby they turn out, I intend to show off.
yeah,
my-
like you got to put it out there so that because like then all of a sudden it's like people around the world are learning off of these 2 posts that he made.
Do you think
It's
I can
like,
convince
I won't
Jordan
do a 25 mag?
to do a dot work and a mag one?
Yeah,
and I
you
can go head to head to head.
Once again, I don't like either of them more or worse.
I still think you need to think of
not
the
good.
if you want it to be
Yeah.
blacked out. I think you need to approach it as a 3 appointment thing. I think you need to do
Yeah.
dot mag.
Yeah, you're gonna have to. If you do dots, you're gonna have to get in there and smooth that shit out. Because
Yeah.
man, oh man, do those
That's
look chunky.
Yeah.
rough.
Yeah,
Or
Looks like you
do
got
you
porcupines.
jump in
It's like
there?
stigmata.
Do you jump in there with your 9-round shader and just do little circles, little circles all day, little teeny
I don't know
circles?
if you
I
can
don't
do
think
it
you
all
can,
day.
man. I think it's like it'll just get churned up and then it'll just reject more.
That's my worry.
Yeah, I don't think you
Nine
have
meg is
that much
high
time.
trauma.
That's why I'm thinking like if you dot, then it's like okay, so we dot and then we're gonna dot the gaps.
Yeah.
Is round 2. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So it's like now all of a sudden we've filled in a good amount, and then we go in there with a small mag and hit the remainder once it's all healed.
If
That
he-
would be my thought.
Yeah, if he isn't already aware somehow, he needs to be real aware that this is going to be
Aftercare is a serious 2-week incident.
and
Yeah.
many times. This is going to take time.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
you shouldn't be. Oh well, there's a chance. Well,
which is
There's also a chance.
that's why I'm glad he's not just jumping on this Friday appointment. Like it's for financial reasons. He's got to save some more moolah.
yeah.
But I'm glad we're waiting a little bit so I can slowly incept the concept into him that this is kind of a big deal.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah.
And
I would
it-
hope so.
And it's like I don't know what's going to hurt, but the real problem is going to be it's going to be life deranging.
Yeah.
because you're going to have to do this over and over again.
Yeah.
and then it's going to be a couple weeks off whatever work you're doing.
Yeah.
every time you start this.
Yeah.
You
So-
doing one at a time, or are you doing? You're gonna try for both palms in a day.
You do both
talk to him,
bombs,
figure
he's
it
going to
out.
be walking around like this for weeks.
I think he's the right guy for that.
Oh, I mean, you could do
Yeah,
it.
weirdly, he
If
is.
you
think
can
he is.
financially support that, I could
think-
take care of
I
that.
think he can.
But like my wife would be, "You're so useless. Like,
Yeah,
why did
yeah.
you do this to yourself?"
Yeah.
Like everyone in my life would be angry at me if I did something like that. Why are you like this? You're just laying in bed with your hands up like this. This is all you're gonna do.
Like
all
I
day.
still think for you, it would be like one day we'll get you a machine, and you'll just add dots.
my approach is gonna have to be more like that because I
Yeah.
can't do. I physically cannot just afford to keep taking 2 weeks off to make sure.
Yeah,
No.
Right?
No, good
So
lord.
it seems like a bad idea for me.
it's not ideal, you know.
But it does make
palm
me
blackouts.
just a smidgen jealous because I would love to do it just to get people off my back about it. Not because I like the
This
look
is
of
the
it.
internet affecting your life too much.
This is the
Get all
internet
up off my
affecting
back
all
about
of
it.
our lives. You probably wouldn't be doing this if it weren't for the internet, right?
I'm not sure. This
Well,
guy,
no, I'm not saying that you
this
wouldn't.
guy's hardcore.
I'm not, but like
Yeah, but you wouldn't know.
the idea
Yeah.
was there.
Oh yeah, the idea because I think he's getting the blackout palms because we've talked about it. I don't think he's even seen it on the internet. I think he's just heard us talk about it and is now just down for it.
See, I know a guy who has great blackout palms. I've
Really?
talked about him before, but he's done them many times.
Right.
They look pretty good. And
Well, he's kind of tattooing now. Maybe I'll get him a session or two, and then he's going to do the maintenance from there. I could see that happening absolutely.
yeah,
Because once he's done, because he's close to having full coverage, and then I'll be blacking out his arms.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's already coming. He's already started talking about it, and it's pretty much going to happen.
that's what. See, a lot of people don't understand blackout because like they don't get it. It's like you won't get it until you're done.
That's right.
That's what a lot of people don't understand. It's like, you get a full bodysuit and then you still want a tattoo, and you tell me what you start doing about
Well,
it.
this guy's got 2 full sleeves that aren't great or good.
Or good.
Or
I'm not trying to beat him to death with a stick, but
barely.
his arms look like dog
We'll
vomit.
call them barely passable. We'll call them barely passable.
We'll call them arms.
We'll call them tattoos.
They are tattoos.
They are
Ink
technically.
went into skin. They are
It's
tattoos.
just
Stay
a whole
there for a
bunch of
long
Franks
time.
with stuff in between.
Yeah.
They all have names.
There's skin rips and skulls and colors and waves and
That was like
sure,
what my
dragons and
right
tattoo
arm was
machines.
like. It was
Yeah.
just all kinds of junk. So
Yeah.
there's almost no evidence of it existing.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
So the day will come where I'm blacking out his arms too.
Then it'll all match.
It sure will.
Yeah. It'll all make sense in the end. But
That's an overstatement.
I just always like the blackout palm, because even the guy who got the ones done by Hood, he doesn't have black fingers. He doesn't have black hands. He has a black sleeve, one, but it's just the underside. So he's just got hands and then sort of black palms.
Yeah, it's. I would love to like to talk to that guy.
If you do it, you need to leave the sides of your fingers.
I
Ooh.
don't think
sides
so.
of your hand. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
you
yes,
should
yes,
totally
yes,
should.
yes.
If I do it, it'll
And do
be
that
a
in
total
white for some
project.
reason.
A whiteout. It's gonna go great.
Well, I just one of my favorite comments is, "What kind of white ink did they use on that guy's face?" Right? Like, oh yes, I haven't heard that before. Like, it's terrible.
Maybe it would work though.
I mean, you could get a little more pop out of it.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
increasing the contrast.
just gonna do
by
some highlights.
Tattoo all the negative space
Yeah.
in my skin to increase the contrast.
But just like brush it in there, you know?
yeah, just some white shading. We don't want it solid white.
Yeah, we just
we
want.
don't need to pack it.
No, we're not packing white here. This
But
is
just imagine how much more my face would pop.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We could tattoo some eyeliner on me too. Pop my eyes forward.
Naturally,
I'm just thinking about the ways to pop what's already there.
I just want to pop. You know,
Now saying
Wow.
that, someone out there is probably like, you know what? That's not a bad
that's not a bad
idea.
idea. That'd be real nice,
Black out around your face, and then you increase the contrast with some white ink.
man. There's some juggalos out there that would be all about that.
Now I'm seriously thinking about what kind of an optical effect it would have.
Yeah, it would
Like-
not great.
Would be
It'd
really weird.
It'd be real subtle. You'd be like, what's wrong with his face?
He has skin disease. That's
would-
not nice.
He went for that classic wetsuit tattoo.
Well,
The whole body is just one wetsuit. It's all black except for this like one strip of burgundy going across here, a little zipper tattoo over here, and then the face is just a perfect circle.
Well-
that we've tattooed little drops of water on it and little shines and gleams as if his face is actually.
it's a
wet.
real theme, though. I
Yeah.
appreciate the effort that goes into making it.
Yes, of course.
I've had people lob that at me lots. Oh, he's wearing a wetsuit, like that kind of thing. But what's more common these days, increasingly, and it might be with the resurgence of Venom, but man, oh man, am I ever getting Venom? Like, we are Venom, all caps,
Awesome.
like stuff like that, all the time. Because especially with the new stuff that I'm putting in, and the mouths in the armpits really
Yeah.
didn't help with that. Because it's like, oh, those are Venom mouths, right? The big tongue and everything.
I like it.
I love it, but like, it's becoming every post gets flogged with something to do with Venom now.
You're gonna make a great antagonist someday.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a
Yeah.
movie villain or something.
Yeah, big.
See, that's
time.
where like, have you guys watched Squid Game yet?
I haven't.
Squid
I've heard the
Game?
dubs are
Yeah.
terrible.
The dubs?
Like the subtitles.
Is it a South
Or
Korean
not
film?
subtitles. The English dub is horrible.
I
Apparently.
don't know. I'm watching the subtitled one.
Okay.
Oh yes,
well,
yeah, I
that's
recommend
probably
that.
better.
Yeah. Subtitles versus dubs usually wins.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I didn't get into it. I just started watching the first episode last night, which was like, whoa.
Well, my
crazy.
brother Nathan recommended I watch it, which automatically meant I shouldn't watch it because usually he gives me bad suggestions.
Yeah. but I just feel like when I watch that show and I think of like, you should get cast in like a show like that as like the villain. And just like the big reveal is that you're this tattooed guy. You don't have to talk in the whole thing.
Well, the thing is,
and then they'll just pay
be
you.
spooky
pay you
looking.
tons, yeah.
the villain guys,
Be
the
awesome.
badasses.
I
like,
do have
That's
a
where
good
if you get-
resting bitch face.
If you get
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a little bit more jacked, like just widen out a little bit, and then the rest is camera magic. But like I think that'd be dope. That's what like there's some bodybuilders that do that. Like Kai Green does a lot of that. He's in all these like Asian action movies.
Wow.
Where he's just the bad guy, and just because he's giant.
I got a feeling
massive.
I get typecast right away.
Yeah, I know.
I can't see this guy in anything else now.
But that'd be dope. Like it would be like
It's like putting a horror movie like monster in another horror movie.
Oh yeah.
It's like, oh no, I've already seen this.
No,
guy.
he's in that.
Yeah,
He's that
I don't
one
like
nameless
this.
thug.
I've got
every
too much
mafia
branding.
movie.
It's like when Johnny Depp just became Captain Jack Sparrow.
Yeah.
Right. He just did
But, like,
that in every movie.
What was his name? Skullboy. He was in 47 Ronin, just as himself.
Zombie Boy.
Zombie Boy. Thank you.
Rick Hest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was in 47 Ronin, the worst movie I've ever
Here's
seen.
the thing about him is
Seriously.
you remember that movie, but if he hadn't have died when he did, he probably would have been in more movies, and we'd be talking about them.
For
'cause
sure.
He was rising star.
Yeah.
Like, he was becoming very popular.
Oh, yeah.
Zombie Boy,
mainstream.
really.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Huge.
Yeah. Like, he was becoming a mainstream known figure.
Yeah.
And despite everything.
Yeah.
Because, like, it shouldn't have happened. You wouldn't think it should happen anyway.
I don't know. He had a cool look, dude.
He did.
Yep.
They were.
It was intriguing.
almost like in vogue.
Yeah.
You know, like it was
yeah,
very
totally. It was
somehow
fashionable.
classy.
It was fashionable. I don't know why.
Like, you're looking at this guy. He's got a full face, full body suit.
Yeah.
One theme, zombie, and it's like, how is this a thing? He's
Yeah.
getting movie roles now. What is happening?
I mean,
here?
it was clean.
Yeah, I know.
Like that was the biggest part of that. That whole his suit was clean. It just
Yeah.
had like a nice like aesthetic to it.
That's what when I look at my old bodysuit, it just looks like unrelenting chaos to me.
Yeah. I looked at it the other day and I zoomed in a little bit just to see what was going on, and oh yeah, man.
There's so many problems.
chaotic.
And it just doesn't make any kind of like. There's just too many ideas jammed in.
Yeah. And there was
So-
too much red.
People still think, whoa, what a mistake it was for me to cover it. I'm like,
Nah,
good
people are
Lord.
wrong. People were wrong, man.
So insane how much was going on in there.
Yeah.
So when I see a big full body suit with one theme, that's way better.
Mm-hmm.
That's way cooler
Yeah.
when it's just one idea prolonged.
Well, it's just statement piece, right? It's just big.
Well, and more, I think as you get committed to more things and you get more in your routine and stuff, I think chaos starts looking less appealing too. Like when you look at chaos in general, anywhere, it's like, I'm staying away from that.
Chaos is stress inducing.
Yeah, exactly.
Your eye kind of relaxes when it's simple. That's one like those Jesse Manchester tattoos that we were looking at.
Yeah.
It's like it's so clean and so big, and it's just one of those like your eye is just like at peace.
Well,
looking at
there's
it.
a lot going on, but they're all working together.
It's all cohesive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can still have all the crazy detail if it makes sense within
Yep.
the. But if it's not, if it's just details for details' sake,
Yeah.
all over the place, because my first suit was way too detailed. There was way too much shit going on. Like there was
Yep.
way too many hours put into tiny details that were like this big
Yeah.
that you'll never see from 2 feet
No.
away, and it's like, and none of it was going together.
That's why like even though I like this stuff for some reason, but like the micro tattoo thing, when I start seeing people that kind of collect those really heavy detailed little guys, the single needle guys.
Yeah.
When you start putting them together, it has a very chaotic look to it. Like when you see the whole
Is that a good thing?
see the whole space. No, I don't think so.
Oh,
personally.
yeah. Okay, cool. I was
Like,
going to say.
It just it's like you kind of get that from trad sleeves too sometimes, where it's like when they were picking too small a tattoos to start with, it's like there's extra chaos.
Well,
And
it's also a matter
Heavy
of
on the chaos.
heavy on the
please.
chaos. Just a
If-
good old dollop of chaos.
eventually you may want coverage, and you'll find yourself with little BS tattoos blocking a ton of your major spots, and you've already spent 200 hours under the needle,
Yeah.
and your coverage is at 4%.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's like we're on Trevor this week. We're gonna do the background, start the background on his lower leg. And when I was doing mock-ups for it, it's like as soon as you put something in those spaces, it was like your eye just relaxes for
Yeah.
some reason.
Yeah.
It was just one of those like, oh, there, like that. I don't know why it's like our brains are looking for that, but
I don't know, but it's the best feeling. I haven't had it in a million years, God knows, but it's the best feeling ever when pieces connect together.
oh my god, best feeling.
When you're like, oh, look at that. I finally have some continuation here. It's finally coming together.
I spent all day yesterday gap fillering a sleeve I've been working on for. Well, it's been five or six sessions now. Yesterday was 6 or 7. And yeah, yesterday was gap filler. We had one big thing in the elbow that we had to build in, and then a bunch of little shit here and there to finish off, like some texture at his wrist, so connect these clouds to this other subject, put the white highlights in over here. And yeah, talk about like the look on his face as the day goes on. Every time he gets up to look in the mirror, it's like, oh, this whole
sleeve.
This whole sleeve, this whole part of the sleeve feels complete now.
Yeah.
We did this much work to it and it feels complete. Oh, look, we finished these clouds and put white in this lightning and added one tone from here to here. Oh, this feels complete now. And at the end, he's like, look, it's a sleeve. He walked in there with this much blank space, but it didn't feel complete.
So maybe for a normal person, it's like, yay, I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't have to do this anymore. But for me, it's kind of sad that I don't get that experience anymore. Where it's like, oh, I'll never have that moment again.
But this guy, this is his first sleeve. So, like, he's got lots more to go.
Yeah, it's not like his 5th or 6th sleeve. So.
No, precisely.
He's not going over this 9,000
Oh, the blank
times.
spaces.
Well, I guess I get a little bit of that, but it's not the same as it was where you connect pieces, because I got it in different ways, too, where I was connecting my shoulder to my throat and different things like that, where things start becoming a whole piece now. Right?
Yeah.
You don't get to have those experiences too many times. So people should really relish that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's a special, almost like a graduation, where it's like, look, my whole arm is a tattoo. How much time do you put into talking people out of bad elbow tattoos?
Not much.
Really?
No.
I've been wanting to ask a tattoo artist that, because I always hear people are like, I want to do this thing on my elbow. And it's always kind of a shitty idea.
Nah, I'm in the genre where no one's here for an elbow tattoo. When I'm like, we're going to do the most reasonable thing we can with that elbow, they're like, okay, good idea.
Yeah.
Right?
It's almost always like, hey, we're going to pass over it a little bit.
Good.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to try and be there as little as possible.
What I have to do is get Allie into talking people out of stupid placements more.
Yes.
Because I just consulted with one yesterday where they'd gotten this, very simplistic tattoo just at the shop over there. And it's not done terribly. It's an apprentice tattoo, so the lines are a bit shaky and a bit wibbly wobbly. But like, it's a decent piece. And her biggest issue is like the girl, there's a fox and a woman, looks like a wolf and a woman, only yay big. And the liner in the woman's chin is like a bit pudgy. It's kind of like this chubby chin.
Yeah.
Not terrible, but it sticks the fuck out. So
It's a bad chin.
and she's here for like, are you going to fix it for me? And I'm like, I'm super not, lady. What you need to do is get some other tattoos around. Like, when you're going to continue your sleeve, then once you have a certain style of tattoo here, get that same artist to do their best to bring this one into the fold, into that style. Because if I start now, I got to put a bunch of heavy blacks here to fix this chin and try to add some shading to a simplistic fox outline.
Yeah.
That's not going to fly well.
No.
So,
I'm struggling to even picture how you would.
yeah, right.
I mean,
like,
you have to reinvent whatever the original design was. Like,
I'm gonna
you have
have
to
to
make everything up.
Yeah, I'm going to have to shade in a fox, which is already hard, Like, what am I going for realistic? Am I going for some sort of illustrative middle ground? How do I have the dark areas in the fox match the black background I'm putting in front of the chick so that I can hide her chubby chin? Like, whoa, no, lady, like, we can make it quote unquote better, but it's not really better.
Man, people don't understand when they're asking like someone to take over something. It's like, so when you're doing something, hopefully if you're good at what you're doing, you have a first step, second step, third step in mind when you're putting that thing on somebody. So the problem is, like, for any artist taking over somebody else's stuff that's had like a step one, if we don't agree with the step one, done.
Well, it's like, so I started building a house, right?
Yeah.
I started building a house, and I had this contractor come, and he dug a whole big hole in the ground. He dug a huge hole in the ground.
Yeah.
And then he poured a foundation with really shitty concrete.
Yeah. Would you please finish the house?
It's like falling apart and cracking, and it's not the right shape. I need a house in a different, like, the house is a different shape than the
So you've been
foundation.
sabotaged.
And he's
Yeah.
yeah.
Now you're trying to
and
do
they're like,
something
can you
with-
build this house for me? And you're like, okay, first of all, when the house is done, I'm still not going to be proud of it.
Mm-hmm.
When the house is done, it's still a house with a horrific foundation.
Mm-hmm.
I can't show that to other people as an example of good work I've done.
And not to mention,
And-
you're not going to be happy at the end.
And I worked 4 times harder
Yeah,
on it
this is where people
than a
don't
normal
understand.
tattoo.
You'd rather just start fresh on a new house.
Yeah, sorry, honey. Like, if you want something on the other arm, let's do it.
It's easier to cover it up.
Yeah.
Like, really.
Well, no, my only cover-ups are blackouts now.
Yeah.
I told her that. I'm like,
That's what I'm saying.
Guess
It's
what?
easier.
Yeah, I'll cover it up for you. Wow. Yep. That's it.
I used to
I'm
joke
done with this crap.
to Lee when he was working on my stomach blackout that it was like he had a weed whacker.
Yeah.
Because like all those little tentacles all over the place.
Yeah.
They were just like half in and
Yeah.
like the shading was very poorly done. And I was just like, yeah, 27 mags acting like a weed whacker today. Just like a big lawnmower or something. Especially with the way he tattooed. It was
Yeah.
just like, "Wah," like everywhere.
It was an adventure.
I kind of miss that way sometimes. Just because it was so spread out.
Just the aggressive.
Yeah, he was super
big,
aggressive.
big hand movements.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ricky's doing these like 1/8 of an inch circles with his 9 mag.
Yeah.
And Lee's got his 27 doing 4-inch.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, even people
like he
that-
makes his stretch like this, and that gives him about 5 inches to work in.
Yeah.
So he's doing this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
For people will they used to comment on the tattoo videos that I would put up on stories, and they're like, the way Rick tattoos looks like it hurts, like just because it's so slow, and it's just like.
But no, that numbs it out.
it doesn't hurt.
You know,
No.
he gets
Like,
into
it hurts at first.
He gets into a
Yeah.
small area. That area like goes ow, numbs out immediately, and then he works in that area, and
Yeah.
then he wipes, does a little more in that area, moves to the next area, ow, and then it numbs out.
He doesn't
and
go
keeps-
back ever.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
once he's done, he's done.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've actually been making intentional, unless I'm doing like a long gradient or something that requires a big whip, I've intentionally been working in smaller, tighter areas like that. And instead of like just laying all my blacks out in a whole chunk of the tattoo and then going back into my mid-tones and light tones, I'll actually like start my black area in a smaller area, dip into my water, carry my mid-tones out, dip in my light, carry my light tones out, and actually finish entire little teeny chunks of the tattoo as I go. And I find
so you don't have to go back.
well, it's good for pace because now your eye has interpreted this very small area. Your brain can like kind of fully comprehend what you're building here. You work in that one little area and then you never have to go back to it again until you do that one teeny dot of white at the end, and then done.
Well, and it hurts so much more when you stop in an area and you go back later to it.
Oh, it's
Because
nuts.
just like you're out of that now, right? Like you've already dealt with that, and now that area is resting, and then it's woken up again, and it's all snarly.
And
That's
it's
where
doing
getting-
its whole thing, too. Like, it's
It's-
ejecting plasma.
It's
it's-
swelling and bleeding and
Yep.
chilling and resting, and then swelling and bleeding and chilling and That's why these neotrad tattoos have been hardcore, right? Like a neotrad tattoo that I've been experiencing lately. You do an entire outline,
Yep.
and
All the shading.
the outline is like big lines, and then small lines, top to bottom, and then blacks and grays, top to bottom, and then greens, top to bottom, reds, top to bottom, browns, top to bottom, blues, top to bottom. Like
Yeah.
you're
I-
working up and down the tattoo repeatedly through the
Yeah.
day,
And all of those overlap.
and a lot of them blend together.
That's how the color in my first right arm and the original eye,
Yeah.
all of that was color blending and like multiple layered color, and none of it healed very well. Like it wasn't. It could have been done better by someone else, but as someone who barely knows what they're doing, like it was all just chewed up, and then it made covering it really hard too because those faded colors are already in there, so it makes everything you try and do. It's almost like you're trying to brighten it too. You're not just trying to change it. You're trying to put some life into it somehow because it's so dull looking. It becomes a real challenge. But I used to hate the method of I'll line it out, then I'll do this part, then I'll do this part. I used to hate
It's
that.
exhausting.
But now I just see it works better.
Yeah.
So like when I was first getting my chest done, it felt like we were working on it forever. But it stood the test of time so
Yeah.
well that it's like, well, I guess it was worth it.
Yeah.
'Cause
That,
it did-
there is something to that, you know what I mean? Like, it's not the way that everybody wants it, but if you're wanting a product to stand the test of time, to just be good, yeah, that's the way to do it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it just is. You don't overwork. You don't go into, like, it's just, you stop when you need to stop. You do the process. You know what I mean? Like that. And you see that in like some dudes, like Acosta, this one that I like that does that, where it's like he'll do this layout and like it's always 4. Everything he does is always like this 4-step process. And his stuff looks unbelievable. Always. It always looks unbelievable.
I've got to dip out, eat some breakfast for my consult.
Do it.
Yeah. Well, I just wish that more people knew that certain styles they're easier to execute in a time frame than others.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, there are some things that I'll never have to touch up. This chest, I don't really ever need to touch that up again.
No.
But black work, I'm going to need to touch up.
Yeah.
Like, not every tattoo's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the palms we started this on. Expect to do a lot of maintenance on that.
Well, and like the black work thing, if you were doing it in like, say you had a square, a square, a square, a square.
Yeah.
More than likely, if you did that one square and then like another square, you'd never have to touch up those squares. But it's not a square. It's one whole thing. So there's like just an increased amount of trauma. There's an increased amount of like...
But you're still going to have to go back and... Because I have spots on my legs up here where they need to be blended because when we were doing it, it was
started
weekly.
on one and then stopped on another.
Right. So we have these... Like, they're not huge or super, super apparent, but there's little like... just slightly lighter lines where he didn't want to touch the healing areas.
Yeah.
And those need to be smooth. But the minute we do that, we got to kind of smooth it all out.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't really want to open up that can of worms.
Yeah, I wouldn't
because
either.
the minute you start putting fresh black down over old black, it's going to be a wild time.
It's a nightmare. I mean, it's not because it's doable. But
It's
just
doable.
it's like oh, you know the process.
I've had to do it with everything. I've had to do it with every part of my torso where every part of me is at least 2 passes blackout because Lee would be blacking something out and leave a line where he had worked the prior week because he didn't want to fuck up that healing skin, right? So then we'd have to come in later and smooth it all out. I had to do that every single part of me. In some places, way more than that. But, like, because my chest, I think I figured it out. That's the 13th time last week I've had my chest worked on.
That's so gross.
And it's not the last time either because we're doing more highlights in the chest in a few weeks. So I don't know how many times my chest will be tattooed by the end.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you get up to 20.
Well, we're talking about silver highlights.
Yeah.
And all kinds of shit.
There's going to be a lot of that.
It's this. I've only ever had tattooed twice. I
Yeah.
had touched up.
Yeah.
It's crazy. This looks perfect.
Yeah.
But some things you need to hit over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And most people just see a tattoo as, I'll get it done and that'll be it.
Yeah.
And we need to figure that part out.
In terms of communicating that to people?
Well, not just, I think that in session, so like you talk to a tattoo artist, they're really good at explaining that to you. It's just that the broad idea of what a tattoo is needs to move forward.
Probably. Yeah.
Like
I mean, like, that's part of information coming out now, too, because, like, I'm hoping right now it's like you have too much of the eye-catching stuff and not enough, like, reality. So it's like you get people that want side of finger tattoos that go away and, like, those types of things where it's just, like, these unrealistic expectations are put out there without the understanding of the reality that you'll live with 5, 10, 20 years from now.
Yeah.
And so my hope is that, like, we're kind of getting out of the idea of this like quick grab style of tattoo things that's like new and fun, and we'll hopefully start understanding, or people will hopefully start understanding what that looks like later.
Well, and that's why I'm always showing things as they heal myself. And whenever I post anything, I'm not saying anyone reads it, but I always say this is the process. Like, this is how we achieve this. And I'm almost, in a way, warning people against what they're going to have to deal with if they want to do something similar, where it's like, this is the second pass. This is the 8th time I've done this. This is this thing. This is that.
Yeah.
Because I want people to know the reality.
Yeah.
If they want to get into something like what I'm doing.
Yeah, it takes a lot.
It's going to be a long road.
Yeah.
And, like, we're going to have to repair lines again on my stomach.
Yep.
Like, I've got a line that's vanishing on the one tentacle does not want to stay. We've run that line 3 times. We're going to do it again and again until it's there. Because I'm not going to give up on it. but like people don't want to hear that.
Yeah, no, that seems like a lot of work.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
But it's also confusing because why do I have lines that work and lines that don't work?
I have no idea. Honestly, I have no idea.
That's just people don't get that things don't always go the way you want them to.
Yeah.
Right? And I just want to talk all about that this week and the palm blackout thing.
Yeah.
Because seeing that image on Instagram and then going, I'm going to do that too. That scares me. That's part of the things that I don't like about social media. It's like seeing someone else do something and then you go, I'm going to do that too, even though it might not be a good idea.
Well, that's part of like I like that he led with the healing.
Yeah.
That was probably the best part of that for me, because as soon as I saw him post the like start one, like the first palm blackout, it was like, oh no. But as soon as he started showing it healing and peeling, I was like, oh good.
So this will
He's
show
going to be honest about
Yeah.
this. So it's not like everybody walks in and expects an impossible thing. It's like we're displaying reality that
Well,
I like.
And the other thing that's misleading about getting that fresh palm tattoo is a lot of that isn't even in the skin.
Yeah.
It's on the
It's
skin.
on the surface.
Yeah, it's stained.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah,
luck getting
really.
it out of the crevices.
Yeah.
So
Like,
like
you've
who
got
knows how
ridges
much
everywhere.
Who knows how much was even really saturated?
And he probably wouldn't know.
No. How could you?
Yeah.
It's like you really need to get that thing real clean, and you can't do that without, destroying that person's hand.
Yeah, you got an oil spill on your hand.
Yeah.
So, good luck.
Looks much blacker than it ever actually was.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I just think that those kinds of images can incentivize some insanity.
Yeah.
And-
well, certainly, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, if he was doing it just like the day one and then not talking about the rest of it, I'd be more concerned. But I like that he's
The
been
responsibility is
Yeah.
nice to see. Yeah.
yeah, really. And I think that should be the case with any type of extreme. Like when you're dealing in extremes of tattoos, it's like not only are we wanting to see the day one, we want to see what happens with it. That's one of the reasons that your bodysuit is cool, because it's like we're at the extremes, but you're not just showing day one, here's how the lines are. It's like, okay, well, this is the reality of what it's like as it ages.
Yep.
And that's important. Because if
And-
you're going to try and do something like that, then you want to know what to expect.
I want to communicate at every stage the complications that I'm having with it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because I want people to understand if this happens to you, it's probably normal.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Like, don't be thinking that this is abnormal, because if you want to do something that hasn't been done before, you're going to be dealing with bizarre things that you couldn't have expected.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
You're on the fringes, man.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But trying every tool in the toolbox, the Panthera has been, I think, a good idea,
Cool.
because these seem blacker than they were.
Yeah,
I don't know.
they are.
It's hard to say, but like
No, they're
little,
blacker.
The little lines are actually there this time.
Yep.
Those almost completely went away last time.
Yep.
You could see them if you were right up on them. Now
No,
it's
that's much blacker.
yeah. I'm hoping that this is going to be a huge part of bringing this stuff out. Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping when we line that tentacle out again, that piece that keeps going away
Yeah.
with the Panthera might be enough to
Yeah,
strike
just might.
a contrast.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's where it was just all theory, but seeing some people that do the two compared to each other, it just seems like there's something different about it. I don't
Yeah,
even know
I
if it's
don't know
actually
what it
darker, but it
is.
just holds differently.
Well, it seemed like it's closer to the pre-peel look. Mm-hmm. Like it seemed like it lost less when it peeled.
Yeah.
Well,
Lost less.
lost less when it peeled.
Yeah.
Than dynamic seems to.
Yeah.
But it might be because it's just layers of dynamic on the same skin too.
Probably.
So if you have a different ink, then it just has a different contrast.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even need to know why. I just want it to work and move on.
Yeah, exactly. I want to do it one more time.
Well, because Sarah said something interesting to me was she's like, well, if it's really blacker, don't you feel bad that you did dynamic for your whole bodysuit?
No, it's better.
I'm like, no, it makes me happy because
Yeah.
now I
you
can
can actually have contrast.
I can actually have contrast
Yeah.
if it proves to be darker black.
Yeah.
It's actually a good thing I didn't use Panthera
Yes.
because then I'd be fucked.
Yeah, you'd be out to lunch. It's like,
Yeah,
well,
then
I guess this is where.
Well-
this is the lowest point.
I guess I'm blacked out and that's it. Which,
Well, everything would be silver on top of that then.
yeah, you would have to go
Yeah.
lighter. which I'm still contemplating for my arms a little bit. But if the Panthera works, then I think we roll it out everywhere. But we'll see.
Yep.
I need to do more with it first.
Yep, you got that right.